So I am taking a little bit of a break from physics, but I want to tell you right away that this is only for a couple of weeks. The point of this video is to show you something that I do every single year. I try and take a week, and ideally 2 weeks, where I don't even think about physics at all. The aim of this is to rest, recover, recuperate, and all other words beginning with re, in order to not get sucked into burnout or any of the other things associated with thinking about one thing over and over again for an entire year. And I think it's important for me to discuss this part of my physics journey as well, this 1 or 2 week period every year where I don't think about it at all, because I make videos about physics on YouTube. The way that I try and take this break is to entirely take the pressure off myself in terms of learning a new physics concept or relearning something that I've forgotten, or even making a video for this YouTube channel. And I find that when I return to learning about physics, I haven't lost a huge amount of knowledge or anything like that. It's only a couple of weeks at the end of the day. But I find that those 2 weeks have been essential in ensuring that I can keep learning physics for many years at a time rather than burning out and hating the subject. And I think this really applies to anything and everything. If you are in a position where you're able to take some time off every single year from whatever it is that you do, please do take that. With that being said, in this video, I want to make a little bit of a vlog and show you what I get up to in my time off. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below if you find videos like this helpful rather than just the sitting down and explaining concepts on this blackboard kind of thing. We've also got a little Q&A section where I ask my Instagram followers to send me questions. That will be coming up later in the video, so stick around for that if you're interested. And if you'd like to check out my merch and things like that, then links in the description below as well. Hope you enjoy. I was recently able to go traveling within England because things are starting to open up a little bit, and I haven't been anywhere for a while. And as you can see, I saw some really nice sights, including a nuclear power station, which we'll see shortly. I feel like this is an important video for me to make as a physics YouTuber. I often discuss concepts in physics, different ideas, how to learn them and so on, but I also wanted to talk about this side of my physics journey. It is essential to stop at times and do something else as well. There are studies showing that long working weeks, over 40 hours from what I can find, can have negative impacts on our physical and mental health. And there is some evidence also to show that vacations are useful for our health and well-being in general. I'll leave some resources in the description below if you want to find out some more about this. Here I am on an extremely windy day. And then we got some pizza, which was absolutely delicious. Yeah, that wasn't very successful. I got a chance to try out some tennis, which I've never really played before, even though I do play a fair amount of badminton. So I decided to do some serving because that's the one skill that sort of translates between badminton and tennis. And it's time to take it more seriously, take off the jacket. And of course I had to do a little plug for my merch, link in the description below. The point I want to make though is that it's easy to feel we should work through a summer to either get ahead or catch up on stuff if we've missed out anything, but we're not really going to be doing that if we then burn out through the middle of the next year. I think we should prioritize learning for many, many years by taking a break every year if possible, rather than trying to cram everything in one go and then getting sick of the subject. That last serve, by the way, went in, and I was pretty proud of that. Went in. Badminton doesn't help tennis. Okay, let's do a quick Q&A section since I haven't done one in a while. Over on Instagram, I asked you to send me some questions, and if you're interested in following me there, by the way, then this is the handle. Thank you to those of you that sent me questions. There were lots of them, so let's take a look at a few of them. Okay, how do you plan your videos? Now, this is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. Really, a lot of my videos are based on misconceptions that I had in the past, whether that was when I was very young and learning physics at school, or when I was going through my undergraduate physics degree. Sometimes I like to make videos about equations, explaining them in such a way that, again, younger me would have liked to see. And I like making these videos partly because it's great fun planning, filming, editing, and compiling these videos and putting them on YouTube, but partly because I have to make sure that I understand roughly what I'm talking about. So yeah, when it comes to planning videos, like I say, sometimes it's just a simple equation that I think I'd like to have seen when I was younger. Sometimes it's a misconception that I had when I was younger and I clarified later on in my physics career. And at that point, I try and write down the list of things that I want to address in the video, make a little script, film it, make the animations, and so on, and get the video ready to go live. Can you explain Bell's theorem / inequality, please? Okay, great question. And Bell's theorem or Bell's inequality requires a whole video by itself. But just as a quick overview off the top of my head, it's a theorem within the field of quantum mechanics that allows us to actually experimentally measure the difference between two competing theories that explain how our universe works. One of them being quantum mechanics, or at least the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, or what we know commonly as quantum mechanics today, and the other one being a theory that looks at hidden variables. And again, I want to make a whole video on this. I have mentioned this a couple of times in previous videos as well, but the idea is, and some of you might know, that quantum mechanics is a very strange theory. It sort of deals with probabilities in the sense that you could do an experiment, the same experiment with the exact same situation over and over again, and you could potentially get different results. And what quantum theory tells you is the probabilities of getting those results each time. But quantum mechanics, as we call it today, sort of says that we have no way of knowing which experimental result we'll get when we do a particular experiment. We can just say that if we did the experiment 100 times, X% of them would give us this result, Y% would give this result, and so on and so forth. Whereas a hidden variables theory says that there are variables in the universe that exist that we don't have access to, that would allow us, if we had access to them, to figure out which experimental result would occur. And so Bell's theorem is essentially a theorem that compares these two theories and figures out what would have to be different in the universe if each one of these were true. And based on this, we can do some experiments and figure out whether the predictions of either theory match up with what we see in experiment. Now that's a very hand-wavy and brief explanation of Bell's theorem, but I want to make a full video on it, so please do keep an eye out for that. Thank you for your question. How much hair products you need to keep that beard and hair in order? This is a great question, but I don't think they are in order. You can see that they're usually all over the place. Favorite equation? Okay, great question. I don't think I have a favorite equation per se. As cheesy as it sounds, I like them all. Okay, that's not true. I don't like them all. I especially hate the ones that are difficult to deal with. But I think I'll just say the Schrödinger equation, because I think the large majority of my videos in some way or another deal with quantum mechanics, and I like talking about that topic. Which is your favorite topic of physics? Okay, I think this links back to the previous question. Quantum mechanics is probably going to be my answer. And this is not something I would have said before I started my degree at university. I would have probably at the time said something like astrophysics or general relativity. But since then, quantum mechanics has definitely piqued my interest. And so I will say that. Why did you choose to study about physics? It just happened to be the subject that I was most interested in around the time when I was choosing a degree. I've already talked about the book that got me interested in physics, because before reading that book, I was definitely more into mathematics. But when it was time for me to pick what degree to do, I ended up going for physics, largely because I didn't know quite how these complicated mathematical symbols that we see, that we call physics, translate to the real world, and that was one of the biggest things that I was looking forward to finding out. Hi, did you get the concept of physics in your college days, or did you work for it after that? So this is one that I think is really important and worth answering as well. I definitely did not understand everything whilst I was studying it at university. I learned a lot of it afterwards, partly because at university things move very quickly, so you have enough time to sort of learn it at first. But then you have to sort of sit with it and let it soak in, as it were. And even to this day, there are lots of things that I don't yet understand that I'm looking forward to understanding one day, because I want to put in that time and try and pick these concepts up a bit better as well. Do a video on Maxwell's fourth equation? Yes, I'm going to get around to that at some point. I've done the first three, and I definitely want to do the fourth as well, but I want to do it justice because it's one of the trickier ones. There's a term in that equation that's a little bit a little bit difficult to explain. And so, yeah, it's definitely going to be made at some point. It's just not necessarily right away. What's the difference between heat and temperature? Now, this is a great question. I've already made a video on this channel talking about the physics definition of heat, which is that it's a transfer of energy, specifically not related to macroscopic forces. Now, if you want to know exactly what that means, then please do check out that video. But heat, in essence, is a transfer of energy, whereas temperature is more a measure of the kinetic energy of particles that make up an object. So temperature is a measure of how energetic particles are. Heat is a transfer of energy between one place to another or one system to another. Which editing software do you use? So currently I use Adobe Premiere Pro, although I have experimented with a few other free softwares such as Shotcut and iMovie as well. Okay, I'm going to finish up the Q&A section here. Thank you so much to all of you who sent in your questions. I tried to take a mix of all different kinds of questions, but there were so many of them, so thank you once again. And yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, then check out this handle here. Here's a clip of me restringing and performing some basic maintenance on this guitar, and then playing it for a little bit. I find music to be a really nice way to switch off from whatever it is that I'm doing, usually physics. And I have a second YouTube channel where I post all of my music stuff. It's called Parth G's Shenanigans, and I will leave a link to it in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out. I also wanted to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons, especially my Giga patrons. I'll leave a link to my Patreon page down below if you'd like to support me on there. And as I mentioned earlier, merch will be linked down there as well. I had great fun creating a quantum dice t-shirt design based on a quote by Albert Einstein. So I hope you find this video useful. As I say, let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to make more. And all that remains for me to do is to say thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe for more fun physics content, and I will see you very soon.